So the police officer orders the soldiers to bind him and put him into the cart. They tied his feet together and flung him into the cart, and he started weeping because he could not prove him innocent. Later, inquiries about his character was made in his hometown Vladimir, and everybody told him that he used to drink. Everybody told the officials that he used to drink and waste his time, but then he was not a criminal. He was a good man. He could not murder a person. But then the trial came on, and because he could not prove his innocence, he was charged with murdering the merchant from Ryazan and also of robbing him 20,000 rubles. Hearing all this, his wife was in despair, and she did not know what to believe because the children were very small. One was an infant, a baby at her breast, and taking all the kids together, she went to the town where the jail was, and at first she was not allowed to see him, but after so much of requests, she got the permission to meet him. And when she saw her husband in prison dress and in chains, shut up with thieves and criminals, she fell down and started weeping, and she could not come back to her senses for a long time. Then she drew her children to her and sat down near him and asked him what had happened, and then what can we do now. So the wife told him that she had already sent a petition to the Tsar, but the petition was not accepted, and Aksionov did not know what to reply because there was nothing that they could do anymore. And then his wife accused him. Remember, I had a bad dream about you, and I had told you that you should not start the journey. And then very touchingly, she asks him, Vanya, dearest, tell your wife the truth. Was it not you who did it? Didn't you do it? So Aksionov, really shocked, tells her, oh, I can't believe that you also suspect me now, and he starts to weep. But the time was up, and the soldier took the wife and children away, and that was the last time he met his family. After they were gone, Aksionov recalled everything, and then when he remembered that his wife now also doubted him, he told himself that now only God knows the truth. Only to God all appeals should be made, and everything comes from Him. Even if it is mercy or wrath, everything comes from Him only. And then Aksionov gave up all trials and petitions, gave up all hope, and prayed to God. Now, Aksionov's punishment, he was condemned to be flogged, and he was sent to the mines. He was flogged, and all the wounds were healed, and then he was driven to Siberia with other convicts. And in Siberia, like a convict, like a criminal, he lived for 26 years. And now Aksionov grew to be an old man whose hair turned white as snow and his beard grew long, thin and grey. All his fun and joy went. He started stooping like an old man. That fun-loving young man grew up to be a very serious old man who spoke little, who never laughed and often prayed. And in prison, like every other criminal, he also learnt a profession, and that was making boots. And he earned a little money with which he bought the famous book, The Lives of the Saints. He used to read it in the prison light, and in Sundays he used to go to the Sunday masses and sang in the choir because his voice was still good even though he turned old. Being a meek person, being a very serious and seemingly wise person, the prisoner authorities liked him, and the fellow prisoners respected him and called him the grandfather and the saint and all that. And whenever there was any complaint on the part of the criminals to be made to the prison authorities, they used to make Aksionov their spokesman, and all quarrels among the prisoners were mediated by Aksionov. There was no news about Aksionov from his home, and there was no news about Aksionov back home as well. He did not even know whether his wife and children were alive or not. One day, to this prison in Siberia, a fresh gang of convicts came, and usually when new people come, the old prisoners collected around them and asked them whether they came from which town or village, etc., and what was the crime that they were sentenced for and all that. But Aksionov always listened with a downcast head and didn't talk much. One of the new convicts was a tall, strong man of around 60 years. He had a closely cropped grey beard, and he was telling the others what he had been arrested for. So he told that the crime that he did was taking a horse that was tied to a sledge and was accused of stealing. But then he explains that that is not really something that he ought to be punished for, because he has done something wrong in the past, but he was not found out. Anyway, somebody asks him where he is from, and he says that he is from Vladimir. His name is Makar, and some people also call him Semyonich.